All right, thank y'all for being here. Before we get rolling, obviously a bad weather day, right? Not a great weather day, but I want to say this to our fans that stayed, and it was more people stayed than we had after our lightning delay versus Duquesne. But I'm always stuck by the ones that stayed. I mean, they were really invested, and it was super loud, and they had an effect at the end of that game. It really reminded me of the Iowa State game back in I was at 21, I think. Iowa State was ranked in top 20, and it was a very similar day, if y'all remember, very similar day, and they had a drive with a chance to tie late, and I thought our crowd made it really difficult for them late, and then I thought it was just a repeat today. It was they got really loud there, and a lot of respect for Joey in that team, in that program, and feel really bad for their quarterback, for Tyler. He's had some injuries. I hope it's not as bad as it looked early, right when it happened. But that's a team that was picked. They were kind of the darling pick of the Big 12 early in the year, and they were picked 1, 2, 3, or 2 or 3, not 1, but 2 or 3 in a lot of these polls in preseason. And so this was a really good win. This was an important home stretch. We knew it. We felt like if we can win our home games, that gives you a chance to win in your league. If you look at who's performed well in the league, you win home games. And we had a 3-game home stretch, and we swept it. We went 3-0 and beat a rival. And then today we beat a team that's had our number. I was pretty open with that during the week. For whatever reason, this is the only team. We beat them all now, all the original 10, I guess. But this was a team that had our number. And it wasn't pretty. I was disappointed how we played offensively. I thought Nico did some good things. I know that's probably going to be Coach's first question over there. But I thought Nico did some really good things. The first pick was not good. The guy was in front of him. The second one was a strike that bounced off our guy's chest. You've heard me say this. Like, that should be a fumble. Like a drop ball should be a fumble, if not an interception. And I thought he made a really good big-time throw in the last series of the game when we went for the shot. I thought that was a great throw. For a guy making his first start in really poor weather and wet, I thought he did a pretty good job. We got to be better around him. But, man, our defense played well, and I trust those guys. Took a lot of heat in the offseason. They did. We did. But I knew we had a plan. We had a plan, and we've played good defense. Whether it was at Troy or here, we've played good defense, and we know what it looks like. We know how to get guys prepared. And Jordan and that whole staff on defense, and then, our players really fought, and they competed. That's a group that prides themselves on being really good on offense. And if you look at the numbers, they ran 81 plays for 321 yards. They have 2 of 18 on third downs. And we're a prideful group. And I told you, we were embarrassed last year down in Lubbock. And our guys heard about it all week. They were getting kicked by me and patted on the back by everybody else. I'm glad you beat Pitt. Glad you beat Pitt. And all I was telling them is, let's turn on the film from last year at Lubbock, and because it wasn't pretty. But we came out tonight. And, again, we're a tough football team. We're tough, and people are going to say, well, it wasn't pretty, and last week wasn't pretty. Win. And, offensively, one thing we did is we controlled the clock. We ran it early. Really I felt like it should have been, anywhere from 20 to 27 to 3 at half. That's where we really missed some chances, was in the first half. We're driving. We had Nico threw a great pass, and we dropped it in the end zone. We had another opportunity to take the ball in on a short field, and we didn't get it done, so I was frustrated there. I thought punt return was big tonight. I thought Preston Fox played really well. I thought we blocked well. Clean football. I think we had 3 penalties in the game. And so just really pleased to get to 1-0 in the league. So with that, questions?
I'll let somebody else ask Nico. So let's go defense. Just start with the last drive. They're starting to grind on you a little bit. What's your feeling there? What'd you guys do? How'd that work?
We were going to be okay. We didn't want to give up shot plays. We felt like if we're going to make them run it, which they didn't in the first half, and I think they got to credit them. They're good coaches too. They saw what we were doing, and we were playing a light box, and they came back. And I told you, Taj Brooks is the best player that nobody talks about in our league. I think the kid is a really, really good player. And there's sometimes we tackled him well today, and sometimes we did not. But we're not going to be the only defense that does that. He's a good player. And they handed it to him a bunch in the second half. But only the run that he had over on their sideline during their touchdown drive when he kind of ran over a couple. That's really the only extensive run he had. And so they kind of dinged us a little bit in the run game, but we never let the explosive pass get out. And so we wanted to make them work for it. If they were going to score, it was going to take a bunch of time, and we were going to make them work for it.
The defense stops them 16 times on third, 3 times on fourth. So what did you think of the clutch playmaking tonight?
Well, I think it was a complete reversal of a year ago. You know, like they've seen those stats. You know, we put them in front of them every single day. Texas Tech was 15 of 20 on 3rd and 4 downs in Lubbock, Texas last year, and we didn't get off the field, and we reversed that. And like I said, it's a prideful group, prideful defensive staff, prideful defensive players. Most of the same guys played. You know, Beanie wasn't there. He played big today. Tomey got some hits on the quarterback. But for the most part, all the guys played. Trey Latham played in the game last year. Lee Koba played. Sean Martin, Mike Lockhart, Asani Redwood played. Marcus Floyd played. Lance Dixon played. Malachi Ruffin played. You know, Aubrey Burks played. Same guys. You know what I mean? Like, we had a couple pieces. Beanie being a big one. He came up and made a bunch of big plays today. Tomey being another one. I mean, we added some pieces, but it's the same guys. We're just playing better. We're doing a better job schematically, and we're playing better. I thought we tackled, you know, other than that run I just talked about with Greg. I thought we tackled. And the guys bounced back. We had a good week of preparation. I'm not surprised we played well in defense. Felt like we would answer the challenge. Thought we would play better offensively. And wasn't displeased with Nico, but we got to play better around him. We did run the ball. Thought our O-line gave us some chance.
What you were talking about, off-season heat that you took, defense took. You said you had a plan. Think of it as plans can change. People can abandon plans. What was it that kept you believing that the plan that you had for the overall for the defense?
Well, I believe in the staff. You know, I think that was the first major. Is I believe in those guys. And the reason I believe in those guys is because we spent a lot of time together. We've been through a lot of battles together. And I know what kind of coaches they are. And we played really good defense until a year ago. And I can make a bunch of excuses and reasons why, but none of that matters. The fact is we did not play well on defense a year ago. And we had some personnel issues that we feel like we've corrected. We feel we still got some – we need to get better. We got to continue to recruit and develop better. But and then we made some big changes on the defensive side of the ball as far as schematically, you know, the front that we're predominantly running, the coverage structure, you know, how we coach when we play man, how we coach when we play zone. We started from scratch on a lot of that. And so we've been getting better. You know, we played Penn State, you know, which I don't know how they did today, but I really feel like they're one of the better teams in the country. And we played them there. And we were a play or two away on both sides of the ball from really being in it in the fourth quarter with a chance to win. And so even though we gave up some big pass plays, right, we made a couple adjustments during that Duquesne week. We didn't show them, but we made some adjustments, and it's paid off. You know, if you looked at Morton's numbers last year, you know, compared to this year, you know, and a lot of it, we got pressure on them. You know, we won the battle up front on both sides, and we felt like we would coming into the game, and we did. We put some pressure on him, but we covered people today. You know, we covered well.
Like you and Bilal were really hot on the review that led to being incompletion there.
No, I wasn't really hot on that. I was upset. Yeah, so we just had so many missed opportunities. My frustration on offense was that we just had missed opportunities. The play before that, we had Hudson. They blew a coverage, you know, and we don't throw it to him till late. I mean, that should have been an 80-yard touchdown. Like, we don't see him. I was more frustrated with the previous play. No. The only time I got hot at the refs was on that 4th down, which I don't know. Joe, I don't feel like paying fines. So and I thought they did a pretty good job overall, but they should tell me if the center's moving the ball. They said that Zach moved the ball on the under center play, and they should tell me, and I was never told. And then they threw the flag, and that flag was really delayed. And we were going to get that 4th down conversion, and that's really the only time that I was hot with the refs. Like, I don't know if Hudson caught the ball or not on the review. I don't know. They have all kinds of shots, so my assumption is they got it right. But my frustration was, and it wasn't at Bilal, is we had a ton of missed opportunities. Like, when y'all go, and I know some of you guys go and watch the film and the TV copy, when you see that, we had so many missed opportunities. We had some drops again. we should have scored a touchdown right after we threw the double pass. Just a lot of missed opportunities in the second quarter. And I went into the locker room. It was 13-3, and I'm sitting there going, "Man, we just gave them all kinds of opportunities because it should be 27-3, and this should be, for all intents and purposes, over." And we were in a dogfight, and that's what it ended up being.
Neal, can you say?
Go, Mike. What'd you say?
I'll tag. He was trying to finish before.
Okay,
me.
go. Sorry, go.
Just as a follow-up on the defensive question. So is there a different feeling for you when you're in a late game situation like this, a dogfight at the end, now as compared if you were in that situation last year?
Yeah, well, last year, it was different because we weren't having success, In this one, we got the ball back, and somebody, it may have been Jed, asked me about the shot play there on first down. There was 4 minutes and change to go, and they're going to get another possession probably anyway, and they had all 3 downs. And so you feel like you need to, we had them in the coverage we wanted. They were playing man. We felt good. He threw a great pass. We just didn't make the play. But your question was, in a late game situation, like we had success. Now, I know they're good on offense too now. They're good on offense, and they were eventually going to make some plays, which they did. But no, and we didn't I think on our last touchdown drive, and they cut it to 13-10. Was it 13-10? And then we went down. We caught a bunch of pass plays, and I felt like even if they got the ball back, we were going to be okay.
The changes on defense, I know you're not going to say, but it looks the same as far as people. The results are different. It's not quarterbacks missing receivers. You're doing something that has been effective. What can you say about what you changed?
Yeah, so we went back and we were a match coverage team, which match coverage is it's really effective. A lot of the best teams in the country play match coverage defense, and the best thing, the way I can do it is, a lot of you all cover basketball too, and Syracuse has become, when Boeheim was the head coach, they were, they played their 2-3 matchup, right? And essentially you play zone, but you play man on anybody that comes in your zone. So I think people understand that in basketball, and that's been what Coach Saban's done a really good job of at Alabama defensively for a long time, is they played this rip-liz match coverage where it's a zone look, but they really play man when they come into your area. And that's what we were playing. And we went out of that where we're either playing true man or we're playing some spot drop zone coverage. And the reason we did that is because it took less communication. We're able to work landmarks and stuff year round, and it gets more eyes to the quarterback. And so that's the biggest. We've messed with our front too. The front structure of our defense is not the same as it was the previous 4 years. But those are some of the things,
Changes like after the Penn State. That's what you're talking about?
No. After the Penn State game, we just had to clean up some things. They did some good stuff versus us offensively, and they hit some rub routes on us. If you remember, down in the red zone a couple times, hit some rub routes on us, and they caught us in a couple where we showed our coverage, so we had to do a better job of hiding it. And then really we just missed our landmarks, and we didn't do a very good job getting our hands on receivers. We gave them a bunch of free runs, and so you're underneath defenders. Before the ball's in there, you can put your hands on them, and we're doing a better job, and we didn't execute that as well, and probably didn't emphasize it as well in that leading into that Penn State as we've done since.
In addition to the frustration things you were talking about, it looked like you had 3 or 4 plays that worked off things you've been running, like off the quick pitch and make it and out and things like that. Those are good design, but when they don't work, what do you have to communicate to your players that, hey, that was good, should have worked, we'll come back to it, whatever, so that they don't get frustrated?
Yeah, I think, guys are going to get frustrated when they don't get touches. That's part of it. We deal with that. That's part of life now. I think frustrating, we didn't break very many tackles at all. And like I said, credit Texas Tech. But we had a couple screens I felt like were opportunities to break, and we didn't. We had, like I said, I think we had 4 drops in the game. That's a really frustration point with me. Sometimes I understand if it's contested, and when it's not, I don't. Then we had we've got to get downhill faster in our run game. We tempoed some of our runs and got ran down by the backside. Shouldn't happen. Those are probably some of my frustrations. We can be better in the pass game. Like, we threw for 100 yards, but there was a lot more than 100 yards that was out there and we can do a better job designing those, but we've got to do a better job executing, so there's blame to go around. but I don't think the blame's not necessarily with Nico, you know, and everybody points to the quarterback, but that's not really where our issues were in the pass game today.
Coach, Texas Tech start.
Ask with that one, two-part quarterback. How close was Garrett to playing? And then Nico, after that early interception, confidence ever waver? How'd you deal with him?
You know, he's really confident. He's had a lot of success, you know, and I just told him, you know, he made a really bad play on the interception. And I'll just tell you what it was. I mean, he held the ball forever. You know, I think he's had the ball for 4 seconds, and then he threw a route that should be completed in the divide between the numbers and the hash, and he threw it almost in the middle of the field. That's how late he was, and the guy was covered. Like, he wasn't open, you know, and so it was a bad decision. I just told him, you know, I said, hey, it's a bad decision. You got to move on, you know. And I was like, and I kind of told him laughingly, I said, you know, we're wearing gold, they're wearing white. If white's in front of gold, we don't throw it, right? I mean, let's not make it any harder than it is. And so, but I thought he handled that well. You know, the bigger thing for the quarterback is when you have the one on third down that hit off Devin, because he made a really good play, you know, and when you don't make, that's the ones that are hard to come back from. But I thought he did a good job. I looked back over there, and I saw him over with the receivers, and so I thought he did a good job of getting over there with those guys. As far as Garrett, he worked really hard this week, and he would have been ready on emergency. Like, if something happened to Nico, he would have gone in the game, you know. But if he didn't need to go in the game, I didn't think it was fair to him, because his mobility, while he would play and he wouldn't be a danger to himself, but he couldn't have played in the way that we're accustomed to him playing. And so he warmed up. You know, as the swelling went down, we felt like, talked to him on Tuesday and said, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking. And credit to him, man. He's really selfless. Love the kid. Love both those guys. They're really good teammates. If you see how they interact, like Nico and Garrett, those kids are good kids, man. They've done, you know, they're good people, and they've handled this really well. But Garrett, man, spent a ton of time in the training room and got himself in a position where he could be ready, because we needed him to be ready to go if we needed him. Thankfully, we didn't need him. I'm hoping he can get out and be closer to himself by Tuesday.
Stroud had some nice directional punts tonight, especially that one on the rollout to start the second quarter. Just what's that give your special teams when he can execute?
Well, this is the best game he's played so far. You know, I have really high expectations for him, and he's coming off an ankle injury off his kicking foot. And we did some things different schematically tonight to give him some and allow him to move a little bit more. And he had a big one. If you look, so they had from a punt return standpoint, 1 for 0 yards. And if you look at ours, you know, we had 3 for 45. That's a big field position change. And then we had 41 on our net. That's a good day. And so he had a good day. We can run too. Our coverage team on punt is a nice job. We didn't do as good a job versus Pitt, but I thought we bounced back and did a nice job. I'd rather not see Ollie as much. I don't know.
If Garrett is healthy and enough to go, is he the guy next week against ECU?
I hadn't even thought about it. Can we enjoy that? You asked me that on Monday, Mike. Come on, man. Ask me on Monday. Nico, I thought he did some good things. Like, so if you go back to me, where I was really pleased with Nico. So the game goes 13-10, and we had 2 or 3 drives in negative territory where we had to punt, and it was like 4th and 1 or 2, right? And we came out, they went and scored the touchdown, hit us with some runs, made it 13-10. And I told him, I said, hey, listen, now we're gonna cut this thing loose. We're gonna throw the football. We got to throw it. They're loading the box, and we're gonna throw it. And here's what we're gonna run. And we ran the same play about 4 times, and it was finally popped open on the touchdown. But what he did is we got some pressure, and he tucked it and ran. Had 2 big runs there. I don't think today he ran the ball overall as well. We had some draws where I thought if he just picked up his knees and like really hit it like he's capable of, I think that would have gone. But he ran the ball well, and I thought on that drive that was big. That was big. And Cole's in here. I see Cole walked in here. I credit him, man. I was really concerned. We threw the double pass, and he fell really, really awkward. And that was right in front of me, and I thought, man, this is going to be bad. And he came back, and then he redeemed himself. You know, we've been talking about redemption a lot. He dropped one. He'd be the first to tell you. And he came back and got one and for the go-ahead touchdown there.
You had a
No,
question.
he just answered.
Okay.
Did Floyd help you out today? Because I think Did Floyd play some spear, kind of like he helped you out too?
Yeah, we did that. That's 2 weeks in a row we've done that and played him at our nickel when we subbed, in some passing situations. And he's done a nice job. He's really came in. He played, I think, 16 or 17 snaps at that spot last week. And then Anthony rolled his ankle a little bit, and Marcus played some at the high safety, and then he played some good snaps at nickel. And that's what he played at Murray. He played safety for us out of necessity because we got some spear bodies, but he gives us the ability to play man and zone there in some passing situations, and he's a good tackler. You saw that today. He had one big blitz. I don't know if that's on. I don't know if I thought he was in on maybe a sack or a TFL that was pretty important too.
And then
Thank you, Coach.
CJ, anything with him in the second half? Just 3 or 4
he
carries?
was, he wasn't real sharp. He ran really hard in the first half. And then we couldn't get him going in the second half, but he's fine. He's fine. He'll be ready to roll next week. He'll play better. Okay, thank you.